Hey, what's up, class? My name is Brett Milam, and we are going to talk about healing. I'm actually very excited to talk about healing, what it's done in my life, the testimonies from that, the power that I've seen with God healing in people. And when I first was reading about this, I was thinking, I was like, there's just a lot of times where God has used me to heal people, and I've seen miracles, creative miracles, and I was starting to list those off in my head and think about how I was going to speak about that. And then I thought, the healing that means the most to me, that as I thought about it, wasn't like a miraculous healing of a body part or anything like that. It was the healing in my heart and the healing in my soul when I was 11 years old. I'll give you a little backup. I was raised by very young parents. They were 16 years old when I was born. I went through a lot of abuse and traumatic situations when I was younger. And this caused me to just, by the time I was 10, 11 years old, I completely shut down. I didn't like to talk to people. I walked around like this with my head down, completely antisocial. Just it was uncomfortable for me to be in school. It was everywhere I went was really uncomfortable. And at that time, I think I was going to one or two schools every year. We were moving so much as a child. Well, my grandma signed me up for church camp. And in that church camp, it was about 5 days long. And I remember going through it, and I was really super shy. And then it started getting a little better. Third day, fourth day, it was getting better. And I remember the very last night, they actually invited our family up to the service. And the evangelist, preached this amazing service. And he says, it wasn't an altar call for salvation, but he says, if you feel in your heart right now that you want to be an evangelist, that you want to work in the ministry for Jesus, he goes, I want you to come up here. And I remember feeling in my heart like I didn't want to go, but I remember the feeling inside was like, you got to go. So I walked up there and I got on my knees, I closed my eyes and I started praying and just kind of started crying. And I remember, I don't know where I was, I don't know really whether I was here nor there, but I remember having, I guess it was a vision of a man walking up to me with a white robe, and it was Jesus, and he put that robe over the top of me, and in that instant, I remember everything, all the shame, all the hurt, all the trauma, and everything that happened to me as a young child. In that moment, I knew that it was gone, and I just remember, like I felt like I could breathe again. Like I would just remember taking in deep breaths, and I just laid there with him and on my knees for a few minutes, and then I got up. Well, when I got up, when I had gone down on the altar, there had been about 300 to 400 people there, probably with children and parents. When I got up, there was about 10, 20 people in my family. That was it. And I remember going to my grandma and I go, what happened? And she goes, honey, you've been up there for almost an hour. So just in that time, it felt like 10 minutes to me. Jesus just did such a healing work on my heart and my soul that affected me for the rest of my life. Like, here I am talking about it. I'm 42 years old and I'm still talking about it. It was such an effective and important time in my life. Yet it was something that if you were a bystander and you were on the other side of the altar, you wouldn't have had a clue what he did. You didn't see anything that happened. But for me as a child, I was different from that day on. And my parents didn't go to church, so I went back from that meeting, never going to church for about 20 more years. But I always knew that there was a God. I always knew that there wasn't a doubt. If it ever got brought up in school or in conversation or at work, I would back it up 100%. I was like, I know without a doubt. And that is what actually catapulted me into, in my adult years, starting to go back to church and then starting to get into ministry. And then now I see people a lot get healed. I've seen arms, legs grown out. I've seen fingers grown out. I've seen people get healed of brain cancers. People get healed of breast cancers. Lots of stuff. And it's really cool. And it's such a testimony to Jesus Christ when that stuff happens, especially to the non-believers. But I look at all that stuff and it didn't add up to me.
here was the physical stuff that I had experienced in my life, which is quite a bit. I mean, there was a period where I didn't see any of it at all, and then I got going to this one church, and then it was happening all the time. But that weighed up with the healing of my heart, and I know He's done it to so many other people. That healing to me just has more weight to it. It is more powerful, and that's what was most heavy on my heart. That's what I wanted to share with you guys. So thank you so much, and have an awesome day.